The cheerleaders sound the call to kickoff. The 1980 Grey Cup game is ready for history. Hamilton head coach John Payne. This is his second Grey Cup challenge. Defending champion head coach Hugh Campbell. Last minute instructions as he thinks of Grey Cup number 3. A capacity crowd of over 54,000 settle in as Dave Cutler kicks off. The game is underway. Obie Graves is back to receive the kick near the goal line, but he bobbles the ball. It goes forward, and so does Obie. It's a shaky start for Hamilton. Tension is taut as a violin string as the Tiger Cats make their first Grey Cup appearance since 1972 when they won the Cup. The last play of the game, field goal. This call goes back to Graves, a short gain. A sign of things to come. Quarterback Marlar hits the road himself. Only 3 downs to make the 10 yards, so Bernie Ruoff will punt back to midfield. The Edmonton Eskimos will be starting with good field position. And quickly we find out why the Eskimos signed Warren Moon to 10 one-year contracts. He sidearms this one to the sure hands of Brian Pryor. But the Eskimos were stopped. Dave Cutler for the field goal. Cutler has the longest field goal in CFL history, 59 yards. This season he passed George Blanda's career record, 335 field goals. Cutler has 353. More important right now, his Eskimos have the early lead. The Tiger Cats take over at the 35-yard line. Marlar goes to the right sideline. Marco Sincar, the wide receiver. Sincar rode the bench with Edmonton just a year ago. Again, the offense is stifled, and Hamilton punts the ball away, this time deeper into Eskimo territory. Moon obviously liked Marlar's pass to Sincar, as he does the same to Brian Pryor. Pryor, by the way, was the first Canadian college player ever drafted by the NFL. And how's this for a moonshot? Danny Buggs out of the University of West Virginia is in behind Hamilton defensive back Leroy Paul. The play covered 55 yards. Buggs was wide open, taking the pass in full flight. The stage is set. Jim Germany, who had another 1,000-yard year, gets the first major of the game. And Dave Cutler is good on his first convert of the Grey Cup game. The strategy of this human chess game continues. Marlar and Moon, the knights in armor. The Hamilton strategy is to generate momentum. Marlar does his part here. And Graves does his job over the midfield 55-yard line. Marlar threads this one down the middle for Gord Patterson. The momentum was stalled, but the Cats are happy to settle for 3 points to get on the scoreboard. Hopes fade for a sustained Hamilton drive. The Tiger Cat offensive unit is shut down again. Bernie Ruoff looks for field goal number 2. And with that, it's a 4-point difference.
Hamilton's got it all the way.
The Eskimos go on the move. A near miss to Tom Scott. Warren Moon shows he can run, too. In fact, he averaged over 6 yards per carry in the regular season, including 3 touchdowns. Penetration deep. Again to Scott. He had 13 touchdown passes in 1980, tops in either conference. Eskimos are knocking. It goes to Hamilton defense. You might call it a moon sack, but he bounces right back. Almost caught again by the blitzing Hamilton defense. He wiggles free. At the goal line. Who else but Jim Germany gets the call? The question is, was he over? They ruled he was.
Eskimos are going to win. We don't care who wins. We're just here for fun.
Wasn't much fun for Marlar and his men, though. First, this pass was tipped away. And this one, right into the arms of Mike McLeod, the outstanding rookie who shows why he was a star quarterback in college as well. Do the Eskimos want it? Maybe not. As Warren Moon tops it, turns full circle. Long, it's headed for John Holland. Greg Butler is there instead. Moon throws to Fryer. Watch for the flag as penalties hurt the Tiger Cats. Jerry Anderson is the culprit. He swears to Brian Fryer he really didn't mean it. On the sidelines, injured Eskimo star Mike Wilson, named the best offensive lineman in the league, watches with millions across North America as Moon launches the sideline. It falls out of orbit into the arms of Brian Kelly, the wide receiver from Washington State, who had no more than half a step on quarterback Dave Shaw. Another big 6 points. With the Edmonton bench ecstatic, Cutler is excellent as he always is on the point after. They call Brian Kelly Howdy Doody, but there is no clowning here. From the other side of the field, see just how close Shaw was to making the tackle. They are now prepping for the halftime show as the Edmonton Eskimos move ahead 24-6. Hamilton tries to launch a comeback, but the Edmonton defense shoots them down again. And again. And again. But this time, Hamilton might get a break. Pass interference to call. But hold it, there's another flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding, Hamilton number 50. Pass interference, Edmonton number 13, pardon me. Feet second down or feet.
And so a nice gain on the pass interference call is wiped out. The infraction took place in protecting Marler, who was about to pass. The flag appears on the left edge of your screen. A tough break. Ruoff makes it 3 for 3. All the Tiger Cats scoring in the first half. John Payne is quick to the dressing room. Some patchwork is necessary. Huey Campbell is a 15-point lead, but knows that cushion must not be a cause for complacency. It's Grey Cup 80, halftime. have seen the spirit of Canada. It's all part of Grey Cup 80. At halftime, the foes have fathomed what might be. As we kick off, Hamilton to Edmonton for the second half. Warren Moon, not being your average drinking violet, comes out gunning. The pass to Tom Scott. The topsy-turvy he goes, and so goes the football. The Tiger Cats once again had their chance, but had to resort to the kicking toe of Bernie Ruan. He's been spot on, 3 for 3. But he goes wide here. Larry Highbaugh catches and waits. He can run it out or concede a single point. He decides the latter, running into touch, wisely avoiding any possible fumble. 1 point Hamilton. From the kickoff, the Eskimos find trouble trying to move the ball. They go back into punt formation. Surprise. This play caught everybody biting into their hot dogs. The snap goes directly to Mr. Elephant, Neil Lumsden, who promptly picks up the blocking of Dan Kepley. This was the play that might have killed the Tiger Cats stone cold.
Hey, you did a good job down here in 33-6. You and Pollard getting up there in the line and then getting back. Way to go, Mr. Elephant.
Now deep in Hamilton's defensive zone, Warren Moon uses all his speed and well. They roll out. Look, and toss. Just out of reach to Tom Scott. He's grounded for sure, but don't forget he hasn't been touched. It's a touchdown. Super blocking by Butt. They get an opportunity, and they've had their share today. An opportunity to get back in the ball game. The Eskimo defense will have none of that, however. Marler is sacked. Even on defense, they have their man, but late tackles cost them precious penalties.
Hamilton's getting killed. They're going to lose, obviously.
Not so obvious, however, to Hamilton quarterback Dave Shaw. Interception. But yet another attempt by the Hamilton offense goes to the wind as Marler loses the football. Watch again. Even though the Edmonton defense is clawing at his jersey, Marler actually drops the ball. Dave Cutler gives the Eskimos a 24-point lead. Needless to say, the Eskimos are as high as the aerial camera eye in the sky. They can taste their 3rd straight Grey Cup championship. It's all peaceful and serene up here, but down here, it's a nightmare for the likes of Obi Graves. His prediction of 2 touchdowns will have to wait. Back to Edmonton. And to Scott. And Scott again. What a key man Brian Fryer has been in this football game. This was maybe the best pass and run play of the day. The Edmonton attack was relentless. The pass. The lumbering Lumsden. And the rollout to the right for one of his favorite targets, Tom Scott. It's Scott's 2nd touchdown of the game. Edmonton moves over the 40-point mark with the convert. And Warren Moon retires from the game. A job well done. So well done, in fact, he was voted the most outstanding player in the game. He receives the Labatt Award on new cars. Moon completed 21 of 33 passes for 398 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's a long road back to the Tiger Cats now, and even that avenue is shut down by Larry Highbaugh, high-stepping Edmonton veteran. He's got speed, held the world's 60-yard dash record when the legs were a little younger. And now, with Warren Moon on the sidelines, the catalyst of this powerful Eskimo team in the 70s comes on the field. Tom Wilkinson takes the control. At 37, this oldest player in the game shows he's young at heart. If this should be his final game as a pro football player, Wilkie wants to do it right. Unable to pass, his former college baseball pitcher throws a curve nobody expected. It carries himself inside the 5-yard line. The bones might be aching, but Wilkinson will worry about that tomorrow. His club might be leading by over 30 points, but he plays it 100% all the time. It's the only way he can play. The only way he has played since turning pro in the 60s. Not many play pro football in a career that stretches over periods of 3 decades. Fewer still have played it as well as number 12, Tom Wilkinson. Meanwhile, profound pain for one whose career is just starting. Hurt that goes deeper than a twisted knee. Tom Rosance, the backup Hamilton quarterback, finishes the game in place of Marler, his first Grey Cup appearance. It's been a long afternoon for this Fighting Hamilton squad. From the opening kickoff, they had to play catch-up football, and it just wasn't possible. But the Tiger Cats could take solace in the fact that maybe no other team could have harnessed the Eskimos either this day. The defending champions played a near-perfect game. Over 600 yards total offense, holding Hamilton to just 200. Stars like Dale Potter, who was voted the most outstanding defensive and native-born player, helped close down the Hamilton attack. Meanwhile, the Eskimos aren't quite finished. Aging Wilkinson at quarterback, and once again, he runs. Wilkie's career, 4 Grey Cup championships in 7 appearances. Just last year, named All-Pro quarterback in the CFL. In 74, it was Wilkie who won the Labatt Award of a brand new car. He was chosen the outstanding offensive player of that year's Grey Cup game. He has had a great career. And just in case retirement is around the corner, Wilkinson goes out in style with this final touchdown pass to Tom Scott. A great day for this man, too. His 3rd touchdown to set a Grey Cup game record. You can bet that football will shortly go back to the man who just threw it to him. Tom Wilkinson, in the twilight of his career, one last pass. One more score, and Grey Cup victory number 4.
Thus ends another season of professional football in Canada. Since the months of summer, the players have practiced and prepared and won. They've also practiced, prepared, and lost. Fans from coast to coast have also reveled in victory and despaired in defeat. Such is the nature of the games we play. But better we satisfy competitive instincts here at home in the playpen of sport rather than on a far-off battlefield. To ardent fan or once-a-year Grey Cup viewer, we say do not mistake apparent hostility for hard work of the heart. Do not label these modern-day gladiators as tyrants, rather those trapped by tension. Think of dedication rather than destruction, desire rather than dissent, detractor rather than destroyer. The will to win is insatiable. It is inevitable, because that is the human goal. To win with pride and lose with dignity. Let it be said this day, they gave it all.
The 1981 Grey Cup game will feature the Edmonton Eskimos, champions of the Western Division of the CFL, against the Eastern Division champion Ottawa Rough Riders for the championship of the Canadian Football League. It's late autumn, and that means it's Grey Cup time in Canada. First to arrive in Montreal is the entourage of the Edmonton Eskimos, as the nation zeroes its attention on Olympic Stadium for the big game on Sunday. But that will follow as a week-long festival of fun and sport gets underway. Eskimo head coach Hugh Campbell leads the way, as does George Brancato, Ottawa head coach. These championship players are relaxed right now and ready to enjoy Grey Cup week as they prepare for the championship game. Everybody loves a parade, and the annual Grey Cup parade has become a tradition during festival week. Another tradition, the Miss Grey Cup pageant, won this year by Miss Toronto Argonaut, Miss Darlene Heaslip. This victory might have been predictable, but what about predicting the outcome of the Grey Cup game? Edmonton is heavily favored.
I don't go by the spread that they're giving. I think it will be a lot closer.
Ottawa by 3 points.
Ottawa, Rough Riders.
Ottawa by 3 points.
Edmonton by 30. Gotta be.
Ottawa will make it a close game. Edmonton's going to be overconfident. I think the Argonauts are going to win. Maybe an 85, though, eh?
The Edmonton Eskimos' Dave Cutler kicks off the 81 Grey Cup game. Carl Braisley will return the ball to the Ottawa 21 and to a chorus of cheers from Capitol Hill supporters. The rookie Ottawa quarterback J.C. Watts will waste no time. He gives to Sam Platt for a 33-yard gain. Takes the play to midfield. Watts further electrified this early action by hitting the hobbling Tony Gabriel. 26 yards the gain, and this will set up the game's first scoring play. Jerry Organ, 28 field goals during the season, pumps the Rough Riders into a 3-point lead. Enter Warren Moon and the awesome Edmonton offense. Enter also the emotionally charged Ottawa defense, who slammed the lid on any notions Edmonton might have had of taking over control of this game. Moon will show further confusion as he is flagged down for delay of game. The fired-up defense is having a with good field position. Improved even more when Watts passes to Carlton's Pat Chokwa. And again, the underdogs are barking up the right tree and will promptly snap away another 3 points from 37 yards away. Ottawa 6, Edmonton nothing. A thrusting nightmare closes in on Moon. More frustration. This pass will be picked off by Ottawa linebacker Rick Silvietta, intended for Brian Kelly. A pass interference penalty will put the Eskimos behind the 8 ball at their own goal line. Watts wants the major. First to Tony Gabriel at the 1-yard line. Third down, goal to go. The 230-pound fullback Jim Reed will courageously charge into that mass of humanity. Touchdown, Ottawa. Edmonton worries. Veteran quarterback Tom Wilkinson warms up. This was a sweet moment for the Wilfrid Laurier grad Jim Reed, the only rusher in the East Division's top 12 not to score a touchdown this season. It's 13-0 with less than 3 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Surprising, because considering Ottawa wasn't supposed to be even in here, you know? Like, that they're really going for it, though. They're really good.
I don't know if Moon's got it today.
Whether Moon's got it or not remains to be seen. One thing for sure, he's getting it from the Ottawa defense. Sovieta, Piaskowski, Raines, and Mitchell have all paid their visits. And how about this one? As Moon bounces a pass off an Ottawa helmet. It will return to earth into the arms of John Glassford, the 5-year pro from Laurier. On the turnover, J.C. Watts hitches himself into high gear. Remember, he scored 18 touchdowns in his senior year at Oklahoma, and he's even more effective on the wider Canadian field. Evidence here of why he was the most outstanding offensive player of the 1980 and 81 Orange Bowl game. Wham Bam Sam Platt, a first-year pro, will show why he set a Florida State record, breaking the mark held by BC Lions' Larry Key. Grinding away like a Sherman tank, Platt muscles his way through the Edmonton defense on his way to his first Grey Cup touchdown. Ottawa threatens to make this a rout. Now it's Ottawa 20, Edmonton nothing.
Ottawa's showing all kinds of fire. I mean, what's the change to see?
But they had the potential to make it here, so they have the potential to win. They're just giving them a chance to run. We smash them in the end.
Tired of crawling.
Coach Hugh Campbell will put in the call to veteran quarterback Tom Wilkinson. Admittedly playing in his final game, Wilkinson will try to turn this one around. It's a familiar role for this leader of men, who in 10 years as an Eskimo led them to 7 Grey Cup games and 4 Grey Cup victories. Wilkinson will try the ground game to Jim Germany, but he'll be trapped cold by defensive end Jim Piaskowski. Next, Wilkie joins the Air Corps to Lumsden, but Bill Mitchell shoots down that idea, and again Edmonton is forced to punt. And what a kick it is, too. The Riders backtrack to their own 20, a 55-yard kick, and Blaisley is upset at the 26. First down, Watts will go to Platt, and Platt will go 19 yards, where Mike McLeod heads a group to bring him down. Moving out of their own zone, the Rough Riders will call on Jim Reed to move them into Edmonton territory, and he does the job to the enemy 40-yard line. But J.C. Watts will want this next pass back, looking for Kelvin Kirk in the end zone. Kirk is overthrown, and McLeod makes the interception. Wilkinson remains at quarterback in the shadow of his own goalpost, hoping the turnover just might tip the scales their way. But Wilkie comes dangerously close to being intercepted himself on this 14-yarder to Brian Kelly. For Kelly, but right into the hands of Carl Blaisley, and out again. The horseshoes rattle in Wilkinson's favor. Ottawa coach George Brancato wants interference call. The Edmonton offense gives up the ball, but the defense shows signs of getting it together. They close down Platt, and then they'll pull the plug on Watts, forcing him to throw the ball away. Pressure from that Edmonton defense building with every play now. Oregon's punt will be taken by Emilio Frietta, almost. But he does get it back. Jim Germany will plow ahead to midfield. Wilkinson will throw to Waddell Smith. As Smith plays hot potato with a football. Offensive adjustments bring Moon back into the game. He's there for one reason only, to use his size to make 1 yard and a first down. New breath for Wilkinson, and new problems as they start to fight the clock to halftime. A lazy pass to former Ottawa University star Neil Lumsden. Lumsden again as he takes the handoff, but they're 1 yard short. Enter again, short order cook Warren Moon. He does it. Less than 3 minutes to the half. Wilkinson hits over the middle to Neil Lumsden, and now the Eskimos are safely in Dave Cutler's field goal range. Another 8-yard gain to Marco Simcar. Now at the Ottawa 8-yard line, second down, 2 yards to go. Wilkinson will give to the usually reliable and explosive Jim Germany. This is the biggest play of the game so far for the Ottawa defense, and they dig in their heels. The result is in question and calls for a measure. The verdict, a yard short again. But no Moon this time, as the Eskimos feel the sun will shine on their premier place kicker, Dave Cutler. He can usually hit these blindfolded, but this time pushes ever so slightly wide. The Eskimos swallow hard. Only 1 point on the scoreboard in the first half. The first 30 minutes expire, and these Eskimos, who were favored by as much as 22 points, are now trailing the Ottawa Rough Riders by almost that much, 19 points. It's a moment of halftime half-belief. Could the Ottawa Rough Riders be on their way to a colossal Grey Cup game upset? At least one doesn't think so.
Take Edmonton in the second half, guys.
It's Grey Cup halftime. Ottawa Rough Riders 20. Second half of the Grey Cup game about to get underway. These facts and figures are proof that the Ottawa Rough Riders have just played their finest 30 minutes of football of the entire 81 season. 2 field goals by Jerry Organ. Touchdowns from fullback Jim Reed and running back Sam Platt. However, the shell-shocked Eskimos are anxious to make amends as Emilio Frietta will return the second half opening kickoff. And he is met by a Rough Rider reception at midfield. For a while, it would look like the Riders will pick up where they left off. Glasper drops Warren Moon back in at quarterback. Moon had a bad first half, and it's not any better here, as this pass will fall into the hands of Billy Hardee. Hardee will leave Brian Kelly groping at empty air, and the return will give Ottawa possession of the Edmonton 49-yard line. The Eskimo defense will pick up the slack. Dan Kepley rocks Platt for a 6-yard loss. Ron Essay will throw Platt back again, this time before he had any chance to get moving. Brancato barks. While the Eskimos are cheered on, their supporters confident they'll turn things around. The defense is working. Now they look for a more effective offense. Warren Moon remains at the controls. He gives to Jim Germany, who will lug the ball to the Ottawa 34-yard line. The lanky Eskimo field boss drops back, changes gears, and will carry himself another 6 yards. Favorite receiver Neil Lumsden will almost cough up this pass, but he will hold on. The Eskimos close in at the Ottawa 15. Looking for their first major of the game. It's a jump ball for Tom Scott. He comes down on the 4-yard line, and Jim Germany will cut that distance in half, calling for a face mask infraction. His pleas fall on deaf ears. But Germany will bounce back up on the very next play. The handoff, and he takes off into that stonewall defense. Touchdown. Convert good. The difference is now down to 12 points. Ottawa ball. Dr. Death Dave Fennell plows through over and around the protection and pulls the plug on Watts. The Wasps will be 11 yards, but the on-rushing defense will not let up. They crash through again, and Watts is forced to run for his life. As if to escape injury itself, the ball pops loose and rolls to the legs of Rudy Phillips before being smothered into the body of Dale Potter. A big break for Edmonton. A big catch of the Ottawa goal line by Marco Simcar. Warren Moon will roll to his left, but he will run out of real estate. Third down and goal to go. Moon will keep again. This time for the touchdown. We've got a new ball game. Less than a touchdown separates the two teams. Half speed with his knee injury, but still better than most. Third quarter, less than a minute to go. Watts uncorks a long pass to Stoquan, but Larry Highbaugh will come down with the ball. A crucial turnover at three-quarter time. Unable to get a first down, Hank Ilisic skies this punt 64 yards, pushing back Ottawa's Kelvin Kirk. But Kirk will have a 27-yard return anyway, and might have had a lot more if he hadn't run into a teammate. Watts will go quickly to Tony Gabriel. Platt will be hit for a 3-yard loss, but better than losing the football. Watts now rolls right and chooses to hightail it himself. He gets by Dale Potter, but not Dave Pineau. Oregon punts 39 yards to Marco Sincar, but he'll only return a couple of steps before being swallowed up by the charging Rough Riders. Less than 10 minutes to play, leading by 5 points. Carl Blaisley almost intercepts. That could have been a game winner. Blaisley stares at the sky in disbelief. But Ottawa will get another chance on the next play. Moon is forced to fumble, and Doug Seymour will recover. At the Edmonton 25-yard line, the Rough Riders were stopped short of a first down. And Jerry Organ will try the field goal from 28 yards. The Riders lead by a margin of a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. To Brian Kelly, but John Sutton reaches up and bats those hopes away. Moon for Sincar, but Larry Brune breaks up this play. A good constitution is needed on Grey Cup Day. Ottawa has the ball again, and Platt would like some better blocking, but Tom Towns tears him down for a loss. So you want to be a quarterback. This is what Watts was staring at. Fennell and Brune, 500 pounds of defense. Ottawa will kick it away, 44 yards. And a short return by Sincar. Time now to factor. 7 minutes to play. Moon is almost caught. But he will get the ball away to Tom Scott. Scott pushed out of bounds at the Ottawa 41. First and 10. Moon looks to the near side for Sincar, and Sincar bounces to a 16-yard gain. Momentum is clearly with the Eskimos now. Mixing his plays well, Moon will go back to Lumsden and another 24 yards. On first and goal at the 1-yard line, Moon will take a step to his right and then a half gainer in for the touchdown. With only 4 minutes to play, the Eskimos are forced to pass into the end zone for the 2-point conversion, which would tie the game. Again, almost caught. Moon finds Sincar open, complete for 2 points. Even Coach Hugh Campbell can't quite believe it. The Ottawa Rough Riders don't want to believe it. Ticking away, Cutler kicks off. Blaisley will return the ball 23 yards from his own 10. And this will set up the most controversial play of this Grey Cup game. Some will feel it shut down Ottawa's momentum at a crucial time. Most felt it was the turning point of the game. J.C. Watts, under pressure, will pass to Tony Gabriel. Gabriel will make the catch, but there'll be a flag thrown. The pass. the catch, the flag. Defending Eskimo Gary Hayes argues for offensive pass interference. Meanwhile, Tony Gabriel limps away, thinking the pass is good to midfield. So do the fans. But if Gabriel's hurting now, he's going to be in a lot more pain when the final call is made. Another look at it. Gabriel, now his knee injury compounded by a pulled hamstring muscle, hobbles out for the reception. He meets defender Hayes. Contact once, contact twice, and contact at the catch. Referee Bill Dell declares his verdict. Right or wrong, agree or disagree, the Riders are back at their 33-yard line. But that two-way pass interference call will appear to snuff out Ottawa's fired-up determination and replace it with a pall of disappointment and anger. The best of it. Watt sacked by Ron Estee, a 10-yard loss. Now, rather than sitting at midfield, the Rough Riders are forced to punt from their own 23. On offense, Moon passes to Sincar for a 15-yard gain. But they stall the attack right there and will look for a super punt from Hank Olisic. And they get it, 52 yards. Kelvin Kirk takes it 3 yards deep and will squirm and churn his way back to the 15-yard line. Less than 2 minutes remaining, fourth quarter, Edmonton 23, Ottawa 23. J.C. Watt, better than anyone, knows this could be the Rough Riders' last offensive series before time runs out, or they give the ball back to the Eskimos, or they go to overtime. Looking for better field position to help a Jerry Organ field goal attempt, Watt will throw long down the sidelines to Kirk. Kirk has Holloman beaten on the play, but the perfectly thrown pass goes right between his hands. Victory might have slipped away right there. All Organ can do now is punt. A good one, too. 47 yards to Emilio Frietta. The return will be to the Ottawa 51-yard line. One minute remaining. Ottawa sets up the defense. They must get the ball back. The Eskimo strategy is worked on, too, all the time, fully aware of the fact that they have two of the best kickers in professional football. The 1981 Canadian professional football season will come down to this final series of plays. Edmonton has the ball in the Ottawa 51. Just seconds remaining in the score tied, 23-23. Quarterback Moon will direct motion to the near side, but will hand off to Jim Germany. And Germany pounds ahead for a big 9-yard gain. Watts, looking on, is plainly worried. Germany will get the call again, and again it's a 9-yard gain. Why stop a good thing? Germany up the middle, another 9 yards to the Ottawa 22. With 24 seconds remaining, Germany will get one last call. This time, he stopped at the 20. Dave Cutler, kicking tee in hand, jogs out of the field. Cutler will be kicking. Tom Wilkinson will be holding. 27 yards out. It's up. And it's good. With 3 seconds left on the clock. Amid the cheers, Coach Campbell checks the time left on the clock again. He knows the Rough Riders will have one last chance, one last play before the Eskimos can claim their record fourth consecutive Grey Cup victory. Watts dropping back, can't find receivers. The traffic's heavy. Even the referee's in the way. But the only way for Watts now is desperation. But there's more traffic downfield, and Watts hits the thick of it. A lateral to Stoquois. But down goes Stoquois, and with him, any hope of a miracle finish.
I mean, he was fantastic.
The total eclipse in the first half, but came back to lead the Eskimos to victory in the second half. A reverse story for the broken-hearted J.C. Watts. He and the Rough Riders came oh so close. The 1981 Grey Cup Championship will go to the Edmonton Eskimos, their fourth in a row, and with it, the respect and admiration of sports fans everywhere. Congratulations also to the Ottawa Rough Riders, who made this so-called mismatch a great football game.
Take it
bad part is
BC Lions are the favorite team here. All right, let's set it up for you. That is Louis Pasaglia. Undoubtedly the top kicker in the Canadian Football League this year. And standing back at the 5-yard line are Jeff Townsend and Carl Braisley. Both can fly. Townsend, a Canadian boy from the Toronto area. He has blinding speed. This is Braisley from his 4-yard line.
It happens every year. The end of Canada's autumn. Strike up the band. Let the flags fly free. It's Grey Cup time. A week-long festival of fun and frivolity, used as a launching pad for this country's #1 single sports event, the Grey Cup game, for the championship of the Canadian Football League. Grey Cup week is virtually a meeting place for Canada as a whole, where East beats West to settle football matches for sure. But it's also that time of year when fans from coast to coast can mingle with each other in a social plane while maintaining their bias for a chosen team. This year, they will come out of the West to the skyscrapers and football-crazy metropolis of the East, Toronto, a city hungry for victory, a city of no champions for far too long. This year, the West is Edmonton, and Edmonton is a city of champions, not taken so much for granted by their supporters as they are simply expected to win, to make it 5 wins in a row for Canada's football crowd. This, then, is what Grey Cup time is all about, as the nation parades its best to the sunny streets of Toronto. One champion has already been crowned. She is 19-year-old Leslie McNaughton, now Miss Grey Cup, 1982, from the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Yes, the sun is certainly shining down in Miss Grey Cup's parade today, but as of this moment, the current clear conditions will give way to rain and wind around halftime tomorrow. It will prove to be a weather forecast to be reckoned with. The Canadian Football League presents the 1982 Grey Cup game, featuring the Western Division champion Edmonton Eskimos and Eastern Division champion Toronto Argonauts. The game to be played before a crowd of 55,000 fans at Exhibition Stadium on the Toronto shore of Lake Ontario. They are all in place now as Edmonton quarterback Warren Moon, with a record 5,000 yards passing this season, leads his Eskimos to battle. The battle for a 5th consecutive Grey Cup, something that has never happened in Grey Cup history. This is the largest crowd ever to watch a Grey Cup game in Toronto. They're all fired up for the hometown Toronto Argonauts. Quarterback Condredge Holloway, the most outstanding player in the 1982 CFL season, leading the Argos from last place a year ago. Now just 60 minutes away from the first Grey Cup victory for Toronto in 30 years.
Michael's Choir School in the singing of our national anthem, O Captain.
nervous as his players, Argo President Ralph Sazio. Who will sip from the Grey Cup? That story will now be told as Edmonton's Dave Cutler gets Grey Cup 82 underway. JoJo Heath will return the kickoff to the Argonaut 35-yard line from the 13. That brings Argo's run-and-shoot offense on the field. Condridge Holloway, who threw 31 touchdown passes in 82, quickly hits the airwaves for a 13-yard completion to running back Bob Braun. But on the next play, Eskimos' Dave Fennell will sack Holloway, an early indication of things to come. Like Holloway, Warren Moon is airborne in his first play, 17 yards to Neil Lumsden. Even the strong fall in the game of football as Lumsden takes his early Grey Cup lumps. Lumsden on the sidelines, but he will return. An Argo offside will give the Eskimos breathing room. Moon hits Waddell Smith for a gain of 15 yards into Toronto territory. After carrying himself, Moon hands off to Jim Germany. He'll be good for another 10 to the Argo 32. However, the Argo defense will shut down the Eskimo attack. And the record-setting Dave Cutler will give Eskimos first blood with a 38-yard field goal. Settled for 3 points, Warren Moon talks over the offensive strategy with Coach Cal Murphy. Meanwhile, Holloway is off and passing as the Argos start from their own 35-yard line. Throwing deep to wide receiver Cedric Minter, and he will try Minter again before Argos lose almost 20 yards on an exchange of punts. A champion as a player, rookie head coach Bob Ovilovich. A bear for punishment. Holloway will carry 13 yards before sliding into the waiting arms of Dan Kepley. An incomplete pass will force Holloway to be mailman again. He'll deliver 9 more yards, but will also fumble on the play. But Holloway has a friend. His center, Doug Smith, will gather it in, and the Argos remain afloat. One of the most exciting plays in Grey Cup history. Holloway will now dump an outside screen to Emmanuel Tolbert. After being straightened up slightly by Dan Kepley, Tolbert showed no signs of an old hamstring problem. Promptly kicks it to high gear. Motors 84 yards for 6 points. It was the first time Tolbert had touched the football since becoming an Argonaut. The first time his number was called, and the only time it would be called in this game. But the Eskimos in 2 plays will move to their 43-yard line, and Kelly's reception will tack on another 20 yards. Now at the Argo 43, Moon will close in again to the Toronto 30 with Waddell Smith his bullseye. That distance is almost cut in half by the Moon runner himself. He'll wind up the first period at the Toronto 16. Looking into the wind now, it'll prove no problem as Moon will shoot for wide receiver Brian Kelly in the end zone. You could say Grey Cup 82 is developing into pass and catch. Teeter-totter championship football as the title-defending Eskimos regain the lead. The Argos go back to offense. Holloway will keep for 6 yards and pick up another 8 on the very next play. Injured Argo guard Dan Ferrone on the sideline. Sometimes it looks like the cure hurts more than the cause. After missing on a pass to Newman, Holloway will chuck up a 16-yard completion to Terry Greer. Argos penetrate deeper when Holloway hits Paul Pearson. That's good for an even dozen. just outside the 40. Holloway runs into Kepley again, but after he gains 6 more yards. Back to the airwaves, 2nd and 4. Terry Greer gets the call. His gain is 17 yards to the Eskimo 18. Scrambling as he so often does, the Argonaut quarterback will twist down to the 10-yard line. Holloway will drop back to pass. Takes a look. Nobody there. Swings to his left. Pumps and throws. Bothered but not bewitched, Greer will snare the second Argo touchdown of the day. Pass interference by Edmonton declined. Argos back on top by 4. The bumps and bruises aren't hurting much for Conrad Holloway right now. At 28 years of age, Holloway knows there aren't that many chances left, and the big ones don't come by that often. Rookie Dean Dorsey kicks off to the Edmonton 4-yard line. Olivan brings it back to the 18. With haste, Warren Moon will execute 3 first downs, completing this pass to Lumsden for 12 yards. And now to the hurting Tommy Scott, 16 yards into touch. And to Brian Kelly, just a yard short. The drive in full swing. Moon will survive this 2-yard gain. He gets the first down. Missing his receivers, Moon will go back to Waddell Smith. From the Argo 41, Moon uncorks this vintage pass to Brian Kelly. Kelly squeezing in behind quarterback Darrell Wilson. Brian Kelly had one of the highest pass receiving marks on the season, over 17 yards per catch. He also caught 8 touchdown passes. The scoring play covering 41 yards. The drive from the kickoff, 93 yards. 16-14 for Edmonton now, as those single points threaten to become so important. Dave Cutler is unaware he will break Don Sweet's breakup records for converts and field goals. The convert is good. Argos can do little after getting the ball back. Dave Fennell, they call him Dr. Death, again murders Holloway. Edmonton ball. Lumsden will power himself to the Toronto 49, a 10-yard gain. Moon will search for better field position. 14 yards to Brian Pryor. Enjoying that gain so much, Moon does the same with Brian Kelly. First and 10. Edmonton's threat will be snuffed out when defensive back Steve Aykroyd stays upright while Smith slips. A moment of great personal satisfaction for Aykroyd, filling the rover spot for Zach Henderson, who was injured in the Eastern Final against Ottawa. Definitely a shot on the arm for the Argos, with time running low in the first half. Holloway will try to sustain a drive with a pass to Greer for 8. And right back to Greer, up the middle, 18 yards from the 45. Moving to midfield, Cedric Mitter will be on the receiving end of this collect call, and he accepts to the Edmonton 53. The strong Eskimo defense will not play dead, however. James Parker shows why he was top defensive player in the league. But Holloway will bounce back with this bit of magic to Greer, who in turn will overthrow Paul Pearson. Argos have to kick the ball away. An ejected receiver. He had his man beaten. A frustrated passer in an unfamiliar role. Watch again and note number 24, Ed Jones, who falls, allowing Greer to get the ball away. Aware of what the weatherman had promised at halftime, Warren Moon will come back passing to Jim Germany. Germany will fumble, which in turn will be recovered by teammate Tom Scott. Aching from an earlier shot to the ribs, Scott finds himself rather breathless about the whole thing. Not long before Scott is back and breathing. He will catch this pass for 19 yards. That carries the Eskimos into field goal range. Before the half ends, Dave Cutler will be good from 29 yards out, and Edmonton has an unconverted touchdown lead at the half. For the intermission, 500 dancers representing 11 different ethnic groups in a spectacular display of their traditional dances. It's all presented by the Government of Canada. This halftime show, presented by the Government of Canada, had as its theme All Together Now, designed to reflect the unique Grey Cup feeling. But the only one who didn't have it all together was the weatherman. And as predicted, a cold, windy, whippy rain hit Exhibition Stadium just as the third quarter was about to get underway. Holloway, Warren Moon, rookie head coach Bob Obilovich, and six-time Grey Cup head coach Hugh Campbell. The Argos trail by 6. Edmonton determined to hold their lead. Cutler kicks off to the Toronto 12-yard line. And JoJo Heath will slash his way back to the 34. Argos will come out gunning. Holloway will pull the trigger on this bomb to Terry Greer. But it all fizzled. It's becoming frustrating for Holloway, who led the Eastern Division with 31 touchdown passes this year. Not dissuaded, Holloway will explode another bomb. Again, no good. Argo defense will stop Moon. Earl Wilson knocks down this pass intended for Waddell Smith. Argo's ball. Holloway will hit Cedric Minter, who high steps at 18 yards to the 42-yard line. Holloway, who averaged over 7 yards per carry this year, will scramble for dear life. He'll eventually be smothered under by Dale Potter and David Boone. Possession back to Edmonton. Moon back to pass. To Tom Scott. Good field position. The Eskimos start a new march. Germany will carry for 8 down to the Toronto 41. Germany for 5 more. Moon for 16 yards to the Toronto 20-yard line. It's Moon again for 11 more. But at the 9-yard line, Jim Germany will be stripped of cargo, of not his pride. Quarterback Harold Woods will recover for Toronto. Now gets set for the most controversial play of the game. Holloway with a pass to Cedric Minter. Minter will gain 36 yards, but on the tackle, the ball will slip or be knocked out of the clutches. Dan Cupley will accept the gift for Edmonton and carry it to the Toronto 34-yard line. Argos will insist it was a bad call, claiming Minter had already been grounded and the play should have been whistled dead. You be the referee on this replay. The fumble recovery will stand, and Brian Kelly will fall on this incomplete pass. But the Argonauts will be called for offside. Head coach Abilovich knows you can't give away 5 yards and a down without being burned. Germany will carry 13 yards as the Eskimos close in for the kill. Germany gets the call again as Moon will wisely forget all about the passing game in this unpassable weather. Moon runs instead, but is rocked by John Pointer at the goal line. The call will now go to the bull strength of Neil Lumsden. Lumsden backs in for the major score as the Eskimos go forward 26-14. Witness a rare sight. Dave Cutler will miss the point after. As the third quarter ends, so do the Argos' hopes of successfully executing this play. Holloway the lateral, Greer the pass. But this time, Mike McLeod will intercept a costly turnover. Coach Abilovich upset with the obvious trend. Showing his never-say-die competitiveness while trailing by a dozen points. Condridge Holloway makes a tour of the bench area, encouraging his teammates, instilling confidence they can still pull it out. The Eskimos forced to punt. Illicic's kick will be taken by Dave Newman. He will bobble it, and Moon will gobble it up. The Eskimos are charged with no yards. Back on the attack. This will show why some aspiring young quarterbacks may change their minds. The two Davids, Fennell and Boone, moving as one mountain of defense between them, a quarter of a ton. Dean Dorsey will kick into the wind. It will go to the Edmonton 36-yard line. Gary Hayes brings it back to the 43. Warren Moon can run when he has to, and he will here. No less than 15 yards with the wind at their backs. Edmonton will be in Dave Cutler's wheelhouse range for a field goal. And it's good. Trailing now by 15 points, Holloway will have little choice late in the game but to go to the air. He will have little success as well. Throwing a slippery football is no problem for Moon. 18 to Brian Fryer. Jim Germany guarantees almost 6 yards every time he carries the ball. He gets a dozen here and a wrenched knee in the bargain. What else? Field goal, Dave Cutler, 33 yards. It counts Edmonton 32 points. Fighting the almost insurmountable combination of little time and inconsistency, the Argos try to get a drive in gear. Terry Greer will catch his last pass of the afternoon. It'll be number 7, a 22-yard gain for a game total of 105. Now at the 14, Holloway taking punishment again from Kepley and Parker. The Argo bench knows it's over. Their Grey Cup dreams drowned by the rain. It's been a long second half. Body all aching and racked with pain. Holloway nevertheless tries to hit Cedric Minter. It's complete all right, but short of the first down. Toronto will give the ball up at the Edmonton 9-yard line. After the Eskimos fail to get a first down, a bad snap to punter Hank Olisic will go to the end zone. In meaningless consolation, Argos get a 2-point safety. Argos will have one last chance, but as so often this day, it'll be just one last sack. Holloway will find it more painful tomorrow than he did today. And suddenly the Grey Cup game is over, and there's reason to jump for joy. It's never happened before. The Edmonton Eskimos have just won their 5th straight Grey Cup. The perfect ending for a year that started poorly. 6 years head coach Hugh Campbell led the Eskimos into the Grey Cup. He lost only one, his first. Now it's 5 straight, and the dynasty lives on. Some say it is not whether we win or lose, but how we play the game. Morally true. But winning is sweet, much sweeter. The winners will have thoughts and memories of this day filled with satisfaction. To the other side, the ever-nagging question, did we really play our best? It will be forever unanswered. Such is the load the loser must carry. A rookie head coach can look back on the many steps to success. The season-long decisions, the changes, second-guessing and second-guessers. The victor receives the accolade, the hoisting above all others for a fleeting moment of glory and excitement. And why not? That's what it's all about, to finish first and to be the champion. He could appreciate what has happened, but also looks across the quiet field and thinks of what might have been his. The leaders show their deep respect, reserved only for those who have been there. The cup runneth over, and so do the emotions. And thus the season ends on a cold, wet afternoon, an afternoon of hopes and dreams. Some have their fantasies fulfilled. Others will have to wait. While each leaves with his own thoughts, each can leave with his head held high. Once again, it has been proved the football boys of summer are the men of November. Grey Cup 82 has been a special presentation of Labatt's. Produced by Tom McKee. Original music by Michael Lansbury. Arrangement, Round Sound Studios.
Rookie head coach Bob Obilovich.
Argos for sure.
Toronto by 20 points. Toronto by 20 points.
Number one.
Labatt's presents the 1983 Grey Cup game between the Toronto Argonauts and the BC Lions. It's the Professional Football Championship of Canada, as history is made in Vancouver, British Columbia. For the first time ever, the Grey Cup Classic will be played inside, under the dome, at BC Place Stadium. Grey Cup is more than a game. It is a week-long festival, including the Grey Cup Parade. This year, with film star Lorne Greene as the Grand Marshal, leading an unashamed display of nationalism through its bands and floats, clowns and majorettes, dignitaries and celebrities. Virtually every part of Canada is represented in some way in the parade, each with its own greeting. The Grey Cup Parade also spotlights the newly crowned Miss Grey Cup. This year, a 20-year-old nurse, Pamela Ann Dennis, representing the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL Eastern Division. The parade whets the football fans' appetites even further for the championship game. And the week-long party leads only one way, to BC Place Stadium, where singer Carol Baker caps the pregame ceremonies with the national anthem. The competing head coaches, Bob Obilovich of the Toronto Argonauts and Don Matthews of the BC Lions. The BC kickoff is taken at the Argonauts' 3-yard line by Carl Braisley of Western Kentucky, who will play one of his finest games this day. Condredge Holloway from University of Tennessee gets the call as Argo's starting quarterback. He can roll out, scramble, run, and throw. But on this opening play will be intercepted by the Lions' Larry Crawford, giving BC good field position at the Toronto 53. Quarterbacking the Lions from the University of Texas at Arlington, Roy DeWalt, who's quickly shut down here on 2nd and 10. The Lions will punt to the Argo 18. A 6-yard run by Cedric Minter will let Holloway pass for his initial first down of the day. 9 yards to Emmanuel Colbert. The drive will stall at the 47-yard line. Hank Alisic kicking to Crawford to keep the ball inside the Lions' 20-yard line. 2nd and 8. DeWalt will find swerving Mervin Fernandez from San Jose State. Fernandez had over 1,200 yards receiving. Now to John Henry White. The gain, 13 yards. Lions will move over the midfield stripe with this toss to Fernandez.
BC will win by 17 points.
The BC fans might be right. The Lions will be temporarily tamed, however, when James Curry and Rick Moore sack DeWalt. A 12-yard loss, and the Argos take over at their own 33-yard line. On the next series, Holloway will come within a fingernail of putting Emmanuel Colbert in the clear. But it goes as only a long, incomplete pass, and Lions will start at their 32. DeWalt to John Henry White. A 7-yard gain. Ray Strong will live up to his name by picking up 16 along the ground. From midfield, Fernandez will come up with another fine catch, but this time he will be inches short of a first down. Not content to go for a first down, the BC Lions will score first. As DeWalt will target Fernandez again, this time deep. Behind that Argo defense, the first score of the game. The point after gives BC the lead. They haven't won a Grey Cup since 1964. But Toronto has not won the Grey Cup since 1952. And it doesn't look too hopeful as Holloway is sacked by Colorado's Reuben Vaughn and Brent Brissett. Argo backup quarterback Joe Barnes warms up on the sidelines. Barnes, incidentally, the only Argonaut on the field today who was born the last time Argos won the Grey Cup. On the field, Holloway, under pressure still, will be sacked by Rick Clausen, this time for a 5-yard loss. Today's game will see Toronto assessed only 2 penalties. One of them here for 5 yards as Hank Alisic and the Argos take too long getting the punt away. BC gets possession at their own 19. DeWalt will pass 5 yards to Strong. Braisley brings him down. It will be Braisley in action again as he holds on tight. And Argos have good field position at the 55.
Well, if the guy wins right, the guy wins well. You want to know? Okay, let's go.
The offensive line swings into action. Holloway will strike hard and fast to record-setting receiver Terry Greer from Alabama State. 24 yards to the Lions, 31. Good last time to Greer, but not so this time. It will be 2nd and 10 to go. Holloway disgusted as Greer was open. Holloway scrambles for an even 20 yards. Linebacker Kevin Konar makes the tackle. Konar won't let Holloway get away this time. He will sack Holloway for 3. But Holloway will hit Jan Carinci on a swing pass. And with some nifty running, will take it into the end zone. The man known as Mr. Versatility for the Toronto Argonauts, Jan Carinci. The Illicik extra point makes it a tie game. In the first of a series of strange happenings for Hank Illicik, his kickoff hits the goalpost. Dead ball. And the Lions take possession on the 25-yard line. DeWalt will pass to John Henry White, a 3-yard gain. And will move the yardsticks with a 13-yard strike to Strong. The busy Braisley will again make the stop, but not before White makes this 14-yard catch. At midfield and moving, DeWalt will connect with Mark DeVries. At the Toronto 47, Louisiana Tech's John Henry White will carry for 3.
The Grey Cup, we're going to win the Grey Cup. This is a big day. Pirates.
And as he did so often during the regular season, DeWalt, needing a big game, will find the answer in the hands of Mervyn Fernandez for a 24-yard gain. At the 20-yard line, DeWalt will hit a well-covered John Henry White for the major score. The Lions are back in front by a converted touchdown. Louis Pasaglia kicks off to the Toronto 17. Carl Braisley, who seems to be everywhere, bumps and grinds out an 18-yard return. With 2:33 left in the first half, Holloway misses on the pass and gets relentless pressure from the Lions' defensive unit. Argos fails. move the arch. Move the arch stick, as a beleaguered Holloway will be sacked by Rick Clausen. And the Argos will be forced to kick it away. DeWalt will pass to San Diego State. Ned Armour, a 10-yard gain. On the next series, with less than a minute remaining, the Lions are short of a first down. DeWalt will plunge for one. And then hits Armour for a 22-yard gain. Lions. Ten-point lead. Quarterback Joe Barnes. Will he start the second half for Toronto? BC coach Don Matthews showing coach Don Matthews. Defense if they are to come back. More than enthusiastic young Canadians go through their routines at halftime. For a very appreciative crowd of 6,000 at BC Place. A show that represents Canada coast to coast. Its youth and the theme for all Canadians.
it out for a couple of jugs of popcorn, and wash it down with frankly.
Shows us what the world is coming to during Expo 86. Evers. Stay. Yeah. Okay. No, they want to get their quarterback more protection and put more pressure. PC quarterback if they are to overcome the 10-point deficit. Ray Strong.